This is Adamantly Analog, episode 73. This week, we're talking about card games.
Hello and welcome to Adamantly Analog, a board gaming podcast. In fact, the only board gaming podcast that smells as good or better than a freshly cracked booster pack. I'm your host, Harrison Dunn.
I smell it. I'm Corey Murphy, your other host.
Hey Corey, we're going to talk about some card games today. We're going to talk about TCGs and we're going to talk about board games, and I think those are the two types of card games. We're being pretty loose with the definition of card games, right?
Yeah. I would say a game whose components are primarily cards.
Yeah, there you go. They're allowed to have other components, but yeah, primarily cards. I'm excited to talk about games because I got a few in here that we've never talked about before. You been playing any games you want to talk about?
I wish I could say I have. This is the first week, maybe the second week. I don't know. We're going for 73 episodes, and I'm actually blanking out this week. I don't have anything to report. I'm sorry to say.
You're canceled from the podcast. This is my podcast now.
Yeah, I think I need to play something this weekend. I'll make sure it happens because I've been daydreaming about it. It's just been busy.
Yeah, this weekend for me is going to be Gamehole Con. I will be demoing and selling games in Madison, Wisconsin at our local convention. Just got back from setting up the booth as of recording, so that should be fun. And of course, by the time you're listening to this, it'll all be done and over. So if you stopped by and said hi, hello, and if you didn't, come see us next year or at the next convention. I got to play some new games this week, though, or one new game and then one game that I'm glad to have tried again. I'm glad to have tried Glory to Rome again. So after the end of game night last night, I was going to call it in early and go home and rest up, and then someone suggested Glory to Rome, and I was like, I shouldn't, but I want to play that again. And there was some surprise because I didn't really care for it the first time we played it with that group. But I went in for it, and I came out on top. I won. I won that one. So I wasn't expecting it. Glory to Rome being the Carl Chudik quintessential multi-use card game that is horribly hard to get and out of print because of rights disputes and things like that. No fun, but no. It's a wild ride. So the basis is a lead player plays a card that represents a type of action. Everyone can also play the same card to follow that action. And then the cards can be used for their action. They can be built as buildings for a special effect. They can be tucked on the left side of your board to be a clientele, which boosts your ability to play actions and follow, or they can be tucked face down on the right to be scored for endgame, or they can be tucked underneath your board as a way to gather resources to spend for other cards. So there's a lot going on there.
Let's just say they use all parts of the buffalo.
Yeah, they certainly do. Yeah. I would say that now that I've got like a second game under my belt of that, I understand more of like why I don't like it as much. And I enjoyed myself more this game. I certainly did. But I think a lot of it is just my brain has so much trouble jumping through the hoops to do one thing, and then I can't look at a single card for just the qualities, like just one aspect of it. When I look at a purple card, I see marble and the purple clientele and 3 points and the name of it and the ability on the building on it. So like it was very difficult for me to like filter out information. And then there's two cards that are very similar, two actions, the brown suit and the gray suit. They let you do one of two things, and one of those things is exactly the same regardless of what you do. And then the second half is either to funnel resources into a building from either your hand or stockpile the cards you've got tucked under your board. And I could not wrap my head around like which did which, and I would always have to be referring to my player aid, and still didn't help. Yeah, so I think it feels clunky to me, especially for a new player. But I understand why people who've played it a lot really get into it, because there is tons of depth and tons of discovery in that game. There's like, what 300 cards or something, and every game you're going to be able to pursue a new strategy.
Yeah, there's doubles though. It's not 300 unique cards.
Right. I think yeah, at least 2 or 3 or 4 every card or something.
Mm-mm.
Um, yeah, and then we were playing with some, like, handful of promos in there too, so,
Hmm.
and the original version of that is rife with graphic design errors and typos and stuff. There was a card called Solarium, I think, and it said, like, "Once you finish building it, put the or put other resources underneath it." I'm like, "What does that do?" And Keith's like, "I don't know." I couldn't figure it out either. I couldn't Google it because apparently the card was misnamed or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
So if you know what Glory to Rome Solarium promo card does, email me at adamantlyananog@gmail.com. Please let me know.
I think I have that one in my set. I have the black box edition. Refers to a specific promo card. Different versions corrected. Yeah. Okay. You can find it online. There's a way.
Yeah, I did some rudimentary Googling on my phone when we were
Yeah.
playing, and there wasn't enough downtime for me to really invest in figuring it out. So I just tossed the card for non-building effect, and yeah.
Yeah. Complete a building with an architect. You can move material from that building to your solarium stockpile. Yeah. Okay. So it's
I don't know
confusing,
what that
but
means.
yeah. Anyway, I'm sad to hear that you weren't thrilled about the game, but I will say, as far as your concerns about the graphic design and just like being overwhelmed with information goes, that version of the game is kind of an eyesore to begin
Yeah.
with. So it's really hard to look at all the stuff that's going on those cards. The black box edition is much cleaner, and it almost just kind of like boils the art down to these one image or one color screen print. It's almost like a
Mhm.
hieroglyphic in some cases. And then it's just a white card. So it's really clean. But yeah, I don't know. I get it. It's not for everybody. I'll admit that. But obviously, I like this one since we talk about it every 3 episodes of Adamantly Analog.
Well, that's why I wanted to report and share with you, and that's why I wanted to try it
Yeah,
again. So,
I appreciate that.
yeah, I just liked it a lot less. I didn't hate it this time. Like, I'd be open to play it again if someone wanted to, but I'm not eager to go out and play it myself.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
spoiler alert: this is not on my list of favorite card games. So,
oh, good. I'm glad I didn't
yeah.
spoil anything for you.
It is one of my favorite card games, but because I talk about it so much, it didn't make the list. So Harrison covered this one. Glory to Rome, check it off the list. It's done for the card episode.
There you go. Yep. The other game I got a chance to try is an older one from 2016 called Fabled Fruit. This is
Sure.
a like stronghold game by Friedman Fries that advertises itself as as an innovation in board games. It's a Fable style game.
Hmm.
Um, have you heard of this one?
No, never.
I had not either. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So the gist for this one, or the appeal for this one, is that it's a very simple game. It's a like an action worker placement almost. You just have one worker, and there's 6 actions you can do, and you just move between them. And all of them let you manipulate a hand of cards representing different fruits, and then you can cash those fruits in for a fabled juice. And the first
Hmm.
person to 3, 4, or 5 juices based on player count is the winner. Um, but the actions, you start with 6 of them in play, but there's a deck of 60 or so different actions. They come in sets of 4. So you start with these 4 stacks of cards with 4 different actions on them. You place your guy on a card, you do the action. Once you get enough fruits, each of the cards can also be purchased as a juice. So you pay the cards from your hand, you take the card off the pile and put it face down in front of you to score it, and then you take the top card from this giant deck of 60 new cards and you put it into play, and now there's a new ability.
Hmm.
And uh, so you'll the first 4 points that'll score it will all put the same new card into play. So you'll have 7 abilities. And you can get up to like 8 or 9 if people aren't buying things evenly. Um, and then the thing is, when the game is over, uh, you leave the setup as is. You take all the cards that were scored, you remove them from the deck completely, and then you keep playing with whatever was left out. And so throughout the course of the game, the game morphs to have different actions, and you're still doing the same core thing of collecting cards and cashing them in, um, to score points. But then the manner in which you do that and how you interact with other players changes based on these new actions that come up.
Hmm.
So it's like kind of a legacy campaign game, um, but it's entirely mechanically driven and not narrative. There's
Hmm.
no story to it. It's just a bunch of animals getting fruit, and that's it. Yeah. and it was pretty cool. We actually played 2 games of it back to back because like there's like this very small amount of like we want to see what's next discovery. The game is super super light. Like the the starting animals all need 4 or 5 different fruits to cash in, and the actions are like draw 2 cards, uh, give a banana to someone, and they have to give you 2 cards. Flip cards from the deck until you get duplicates, you know, and bust or take whatever you've revealed. Like just very simple card manipulation mechanics. Um, and then it kind of evolves. Like now there's a market. There's like these row of fruits that you can manipulate. So you have like additional options. It was a cool idea, and it played pretty quick and snappy for 4 players. We got 2 games in, and each was about 15-20 minutes each.
Is this like actually the 2016 version of this game, or is it being reprinted?
It's the 2016 version of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, Keith dug it up. Like someone had recommended it to him, just as like an interesting take on a campaign style game that doesn't really, you know, it's got a lighter focus to it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and plus it's a Friedman Freeze game, and like the guy just does some cool stuff. He makes all of Friedman Freeze games are the boxes are green, the names start with an F. He's just got like a bunch of weird things that all his games do that are just, you know, it's a Friedman Freeze game.
Yeah. Except for
Power Grid was his
Power
first
Grid
one. Well,
starts
no,
with
because Power Grid in German is Funkenschlag.
Funkenschlag.
Yep,
Funkenschlag. Okay.
yep.
Hmm.
So, yeah, if you look at a picture of him, his BGG page, he kind of looks like Guy Fieri with green hair.
I just saw a picture of that, and now that you say that, I can't unsee that. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So,
That's awesome.
anyway, that Fable Fruit, it was cool. We played Keith's copy, so I don't have one to play next time we hang out. But if you get a chance to pick it up at some point, it was neat.
Cool.
Well, I said we should talk about card games, and then I spent time talking about other games that I've played that just also happen to be card games. Shall we
Yeah,
get
look
to
at that.
the Let's get to the meat of the episode. All right, so today we are talking about favorite card games, or just card games. You know, card games we like to talk about or want to talk about. Card games. Corey, I have a first player rule for us.
Okay.
Who has the highest mana cost on the bottom of their deck? Sorry, on
Oh,
the
yeah.
bottom of their library. This is a rule from Kitchen Table Magic: The Gathering. Remember when we used to do that? Like,
Yeah.
who goes first? Who's got the highest mana cost on the bottom?
Yeah, so what do I do? Do I go grab a magic card and whatever the first one I see is, I report the cost?
Yeah, naturally. What is
Okay.
it?
1 sec. You got one?
Yep.
Okay. Mine is the Brass Gnat from Time Spiral, and unfortunately, it is 1 CMC.
Oh, I pulled out a deck of cards. I thought it was Magic, and then I turned it over, and it turns out to be the the one of the 2 decks of Lorcana that I own.
Oh,
So mine is actually a cost 2 because it's LeFou from Beauty and the Beast.
okay.
So does ink cost equate to mana cost if it's 1 for 1? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
All right. All right. So the first game I wanted to talk about, and this is the first thing I thought of when we said card games, and I was like, ooh, let's talk about TCGs. Because this is one from my youth that I don't see anyone talk about anymore. This is from
Mm.
the year 2000 is when it came out, so it's real old. And this is called Magi Nation Duel. It's from a company called Interactive Imagination Corporation. That sounds like a cyberpunk horror thing.
Yeah, it does.
um, so this is a game that my brother and I started playing when we were younger, and I have no idea how we like found it or got into it. Um, but it was around the time of like the Pokemon craze. It was another game where you summon monsters to do your battling for you.
Mhm.
Um, and the thing about Magination Duel is that you, as the summoner or no the mage, the magi that you played as was represented as a card in the game. That was like its thing. So you had a stack of 3 magi that you would play as throughout the course of the game, and kind of not like a tag team, but like a as soon as my first one is done, then the second one comes out. So you would build a deck that would hopefully be good with all three of those characters, and then you'd have magi that were like really good openers who had a lot of resources but didn't wasn't good at sustaining a long fight, and then your last one might be like somebody who requires a combo setup, and so you spend the whole game kind of looking for those pieces so that when your third character comes out, you're ready to rock. Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, it had this neat hook to it. And then the other piece that I really liked is that it used the like color suit system or whatever, it's in a lot of card games. But they were regions of the world, of this fantasy world. And at the start, like the first set, they had 5 regions plus like a sixth evil region that there weren't any magi for. Um, and you could build a deck with anything, but if you played a card from an outside region, it cost you 1 extra energy to play. So you could really build whatever you wanted, but the energy economy was pretty tight. So to splash new colors was pretty punishing.
Hmm.
But then as they introduced new sets, each set would have 1 or 2 new regions in it. So the first expansion added like a mountaintop and a grasslands region, and the next one was like a swamp and a jungle region. Um, and it just really like had such this really interesting world to me as a kid, that you were constantly getting to explore new parts of this world, see like familiar types of monsters in a new setting. They had an equivalent of a dragon. I think they called a Hyren or something in there, and every region had a couple different of these dragon creatures. So it was cool to see the different versions of those. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I went and found a couple like precons and some booster packs a few years ago, and I bought them on eBay. So I have 2 decks to like just play whenever I want to, or just look at the cards. But it's been out of print and defunct for a long time. I think there's like a company trying to reprint it right now. There was a crowdfunding campaign last year that did really well, but they were really leaning into like the collectible card game model still. It wasn't just like a hey, let's reprint this and have it. They're trying to reboot the whole thing, and I'm not sure how well it did. Um, but yeah, have you ever heard of this one?
Yes, I have. And you were wondering how you came across it, and my guess was like Inquest magazine or Top Deck magazine back in the day, because that's how I was exposed to it. I never played it, but the ads were abundant in those magazines, and I was always paging through looking at the Magic content and the price guide for the Magic cards and stuff. This one always struck me as it looks like a spin-off of Pokemon or something, and the graphic design was really cool. At the time, I remember it being, but now I'm looking at it, and like, holy cow, this text is so small. And there's so much going in the background. It's really hard to read.
Yeah,
But yeah, never got to play it. I think I had a few cards, maybe some promos that I got probably in that magazine, but yeah, never played it.
yeah, I really enjoy this one. Details on the campaign. Yeah, they got over $200,000. They were only going for $10,000, so I would say it's a pretty
Hmm.
successful campaign. It funded uh 2 years ago, and their last update was 4 days ago. So they're still active. Uh, let's see, shipping has charged and started, so people are starting to get it. That's cool. Hey, look at that. We're unwittingly timely. So yeah, it would be Trader's Reach is what they call the like reprint version, a reprint set. So there's like a handful of new cards, but it's mostly the reprints of the original stuff. Looks like you can still order on their website. You can get all 27 decks, guaranteeing a playset of all the new cards for $300.
Nice.
um, so yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's my thing. That's Magination Duel.
that kind of reminds me of that whole era of card games trying to follow in Magic's footsteps.
Yeah.
And, we still have a lot of card games that are coming out these days too. But I remember there were a couple of them that really caught on back in like the early 2000s or late 90s. And there was a World of Warcraft game, I think, or a Warcraft
Yep.
game that was really big. There
Yep.
was what's the River of Gold? What's that from? Legend of the Five Rings. That was a
Yep.
big one.
Yep.
And I think Legend of the Five Rings did the same thing where they sort of they kinda, like, reprinted their game recently, and you could buy, like, a big box of all the cards and just kinda relive the glory days.
Mhm.
I don't know if that sounds familiar or not, but I seem to remember that. And yeah, I never got to play too many of them, and it's kind of a lost lost opportunity because most of them are just kinda, like, defunct. They're sorta dead now, and,
Right.
Magic carries on.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
but different
Yeah.
different landscape without the magazine supporting it, and now the internet is, I think it makes it harder for the smaller companies to get seen because the advertising is so tough to come by for smaller upstarts.
Well, it's expensive too, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I was the kid in, high school. I would go to the local game store. I would wear black trip pants. Remember those things with the baggy, long black pants with a million pockets?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I would put a deck for every card game that I owned cards for and could play in a different pocket, which at the time was Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magination, Duel Masters, Inuyasha,
Yeah, dual
Mega
match.
Man, and I think there was at least 1 or 2 more in there.
Oh, nice.
But, yeah, at one point, I was, like, trying to play, 6 or 7 TCGs at the same time at our local store.
Mm,
They supported it, which was great, but, man,
yeah.
when you get to do some trades with people, you're like, "I'll trade you 3 Magic cards and 2 Yu-Gi-Oh cards for 6 Duel Masters cards in this." Oh, Dragon Ball Z, that was another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's another big one.
Goku for a Charizard.
Did you ever play the Marvel Verse System card game?
I didn't know, no.
That one was cool. We've talked about it on the podcast before because I remember when we got into it, it was kind of already dead. So we were buying a booster box at a time on eBay for like $5 to $10 each for the entire booster box. So
Yeah.
we get them and we were just cracking packs for hours. It was a fun game. There's a Nintendo DS cartridge for the Marvel trading card game, and that's how I learned it. You can still get it on eBay. I'm looking at one for 35 bucks right now, and it's got like every card in the game, and that was what got me hooked on it. I think more recently companies have sort of figured out that that's the way to get people in, get them hooked on their sauce a little bit
Mhm, yep.
because Pokemon's been doing it with Pokemon Pocket, and I think to great success. But previously, everyone was so afraid to give out like free digital versions of their cards. Like obviously Magic is completely different where you're paying like, upwards of $20, $25 for a digital card on a Moto. It's
Oh, yeah.
crazy. All right, cool. Well, that was a good trip down memory lane there. Magi
Yeah.
Nation.
Yep, yeah, Imagination Duel. Alright, one up that, Corey.
Um, well, I wanted to talk about TCG type of card games, but I really don't have too many that I played aside from Magic. So I'm covering some other elements of card games with my list. Now, I have to mention, Harrison, I did change my list. You kind of alluded to this earlier. I had Citizens of the Spark on there, which is a more recent card game from Thunderworks. Harrison has
I'm
a little
aware.
to do with that one. And I do want to shout that one out, but I think I wanted to more focus it on like more traditional card style games. So I've changed it. My first pick is actually Arkham Horror, the card game, 2016 from Fantasy Flight. So this is I'm admitting now to not including Marvel Champions on this list just to spare everyone from hearing me talk about it again. But this one covers the living card game aspect of card games, which there are lots of options. You've got Marvel, you've got Arkham Horror, you've also got a Lord of the Rings one, and then there's a lot of kind of Star Wars sorts of spin-offs. I think
Mhm.
a little more head-to-head sort of style games. But Arkham Horror is one of those games that you get into, you buy the box, and you're like, "Oh, this is cool. This is probably enough for a while." And then slowly you find yourself looking for deals and all the expansion content and all the campaign boxes because there's so much more to explore. And because it's completely card based, now there's tokens for like your sanity and your damage and things like that, but it is a card based game in the sense that you create the board with the cards. So the each campaign scenario has you laying out different like kind of setups and different I don't know, it's like almost like a blueprint of a house, right? And the cards represent each room or space that you can go to. And there's different ways that they connect to one another. They have actually a pretty clever system of determining how that works and how doors close and keep you locked out of certain places. But as you go through, you're dealing with different kinds of threats in different areas. You're looting those areas. There's different effects that are actually printed on those cards. It's really neat, and I'm always surprised when I tackle a new campaign or a new scenario within a campaign how they kind of push and bend the rules using those elements. So every player has their own independent card deck representing a character. You choose which character you want to play as. And there's a point system that you can earn points through the campaign, even if you fail. This is like a fail forward type of game. Like you don't have to win to keep on moving. You can fail, and there's a different kind of outcome that you sort of find yourself exploring. But as you do this, you earn points, and those points can be spent to add different cards to your deck. So once you get done with like a mission with a group of players, you're like, oh, that's cool. Like let's shop around. I think I need a better gun. I can do this, and why don't you get that, and we can bring that to the next scenario. And it's all this like cool kind of strategizing together where you're doing some deck building at the same time. And I think that's really unique to Arkham Horror, where it's completely insular in like a game like Magic the Gathering or something.
Mhm.
So that's a really fun part of it. I haven't done nearly enough of this game to know more about the depth of all those extra boxes, but I know there's people that this is like their lifestyle. This is the game they play. I've got Marvel Champions for that. I try to limit myself, but I've got the base campaign box only for Arkham Horror, and I've had a lot of fun with that.
I don't think that I realized that there was that more of like meta campaign character growth and building involved in it, right? Because
Yeah,
the
yeah.
I know a lot of the Arkham Horror card game community is a little salty with uh Fantasy Flight for shifting so much focus to Marvel. And
Mhm.
Marvel Champions doesn't have that at all. So I just kind of equated those two as like, oh, Marvel Champions usurped Arkham Horror. But I didn't realize that there was that more of a campaign style thing to it. I'm not so into the theme of it, but
Yeah.
the way you talk about it makes me a lot more interested.
Yeah, the theme is really played out. I mean, I think it's public domain, the whole Lovecraft thing, so a lot of games will take it and run with it. But
Hmm.
Fantasy Flight certainly has driven it into the ground with all of their Arkham Horror style games. It's almost confusing it after, at a certain point. It's like, which one did I play? They're all called Arkham Horror or something. So this is the best one though. I really do like Arkham Horror, the board game, which we've talked about previously, but the card game I think is the best designed one. It's the hardest. It's pretty ruthless. You do lose a lot. Um, and I should mention this. I didn't actually officially say it's a campaign game, but it is. It's a collaborative campaign game. Whereas Marvel Champions is more like a one shot that you set up. There are campaign boxes for it, but it's not really great. Basically you're just setting up a fight that you're going to complete. But this campaign game, you're actually moving through a series of missions with the same cooperative team, which I think is you get a very different experience from that, even though the collectible element is still there.
Yeah,
So
cool. Yeah, we
that is
if we
art.
were
Yeah,
oh, I was gonna say if we were next door neighbors, we would definitely have to start a campaign.
yeah, yeah. All right, that's Arkham Horror, the card game, 2016 from Fantasy Flight.
All right, so I talked about a game from year 2000. Let's fast forward to modern day to 25 years from then, and I want to talk about a game that's actually not even out yet, or will be coming out as you're listening to this,
Hmm.
and that is Riftbound, the League of Legends card game. So I think it's fair to talk about this game because I have played it. I have tried like the demo at a convention, uh, and I've pre-ordered a couple decks, and I'm gonna play with my neighbor because my neighbor wants to play it too. So we're just gonna hopefully be real casual about it, but we'll see what happens. Uh, so the League of Legends card game, based on the giant esport crazy internet game that's been around for gosh, was that 20 years now or something? No, 15
Mhm.
years maybe. Um, this is a head-to-head or up to four players competitive card game where you take on uh, the role of one of the champions in the game. I just looked today, 171 characters in this game,
Wow.
playable characters in the video game.
Wow.
So they've got a lot of room to work with for upcoming expansions and things like that. And this is instead of like a beat you down, destroy your life total, last man standing thing. This one is an area control race to 8 points instead. So I think that's how they can get the multiplayer to feel a little bit more balanced. Is that it's not like ganging up on someone. You're actually trying to compete with different people over these shared control points. Um,
Mm.
which I think is a pretty cool take on it. Uh, like the popular commander, you have actually two cards that start outside of your deck representing your champion, and you pick one of them is the champion, hero champion themselves, your chosen champion, which is the character that you can like play just like a commander, and use them whenever. That's like an extra card that's always in your hand. And the other one is your legend ability, which is like just a passive rule or ability for you the entire game. So think of like the was it the eminence commanders from Magic that like some they have some effect that's always in effect no matter where they are. Um, so there's that part of deck building. Like, okay, I get to pick a card to represent a unique rule for me. And then there's the mana system or the energy rune system for this. Have you seen anything about this, Corey? Do you know about this?
No, I'm not even really familiar with League of Legends aside from knowing that it exists. So
Oh, I was
yeah, fun.
so intrigued the moment that I like played this system. So you've got a separate deck for your lands, so they're called runes in this.
Mhm.
Um, runes, runes. And at the start of each turn, you draw one card from your regular deck, and then you flip over two runes from your rune deck and place them face up in your rune area. And runes work pretty much just like you think in Magic. You're going to tap them to get the runes, and then spend them to play cards. But the catch here is that some cards have a recycle cost on them. So um, every rune is just going to make like generic energy for you. But then a card that costs 5 and has 2 runes on it of a specific color, that means you have to recycle those, putting those runes from your supply on the bottom of your deck, on the bottom of your rune deck. So a lot of cards have like a base energy cost, whatever mana you have available that turn, and then other more powerful cards have a tempo effect. They actually reduce the number of mana that you have over the course of the game,
Hmm.
or put you back. So there's just this. I'm fascinated by this ebb and flow of like building up, and then playing some big cool card, and then it's going to take you a couple turns to get back up to that power level you were at before. Um, there's a whole like I said, area control thing. There's um two smash up style locations that you're fighting over the whole game, and going back and forth. um I'm super excited to try this one out. I would check out like a how to play or learn to play video. There's a handful of them out there right now, but it just does some cool things, and I think it's going to be really approachable and light to get into.
Is it like like randomized booster pack sort of situation or more
Oh yeah,
LCG?
of
Yeah.
course. No,
Okay.
yeah, it's booster packs.
Okay.
Yeah, I pre-ordered a couple of the pre-cons. We'll see how it goes after that. I'm hoping that my neighbor, who's a big Magic player, will just let it. We can be cool with just a couple decks and play a few times, and we don't have to
Yeah.
go crazy. We'll see what happens, right?
Yeah. I'm looking at the cards and the art looks really nice. So that's exciting. I am tempted to give this a shot. I don't have anything to do with League of Legends, but heck, it looks fun. And
It's uh
you
it's a
know,
cool fantasy world with magic and technology blended in a fairly cohesive manner.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, there's lots there to explore. Plus, if you haven't watched the Arcane TV show on Netflix, oh boy, you are in for a treat.
Is that by the Spider Verse people, or is that something different?
It's different. Yeah, it's by a studio in France, I think, called Fortiche.
Gotcha.
Or they're the primary people behind it. Yeah.
Cool.
So that is my number 2 pick, Riftbound from Riot Games.
Okay. All right, for my number 2 pick, I wanted to represent the card games that appeal to the board game folks, and I think innovation is it. This is one of my favorites of all time, and rather than putting Glory to Rome on this list, which is kind of tied with it, it has a lot of similarities. Um, I chose innovation because Harrison covered Glory to Rome, even though you kind of didn't like it. That's okay, Harrison. I value your opinion. Um, but you cannot deny that these games in a small package pack a huge bit of a lot of depth to them, right?
Oh
There's
yeah.
so much to explore. And the excitement about innovation, which is kind of like a pseudo civilization game in some ways, is that every time you play it, you find different interactions between cards, and yet it's still, even though it's like your own engine builder, it still is very interactive. You care a lot about what your opponents are doing. The concept here is that you're building I don't even really know how to describe it. It's very unique. Building different systems or different engines represented by the 5 or 6 different suits in the game. and each of those has tags on it. And so when you place cards down on the table, you're going to either cover up the previously played card or you're going to splay them to kind of slide it over and display the tags that are on the card beneath it. And then when you activate the ability, you count up the number of visible tags on that card, compare it to the opponent's tags, and whoever has the majority of those tags is like, kind of like leading in that suit. They would get to either follow you or are immune to your attacks, depending on the way that you do, depending on the type of action you take.
Mhm.
So it's kind of difficult to describe. It's a very bizarre type of game, and there's not a lot that follows it or uses similar ideas to it, aside from the generalized like you either draw cards or place cards into your own tableau on your turn. Okay, it's
Very
not a lot.
abstract.
Yeah, it's very abstract, and it's funny because, like I said, it's a pseudo Civ game. All the cards are named after different innovations throughout history, but then that's kind of the end of the theming there because then they do these very mechanical things, and it's like, okay, cool. So that's like the printing press. I get it. But it's a lot of fun, and the best part about it is the base game itself has so much to offer and so much to explore that it doesn't need more, but there is way more. There's so many more expansions that try so many different game breaking and rule breaking things, and it's really exciting to discover what those have in them. So I like innovation an awful lot.
Yeah, I've played Innovation a few more times, as I've mentioned before. It's on Board Game Arena, which is really nice. You can actually check it
Hmm.
out there if you'd like to learn more. Definitely play through a tutorial or play it with friends. Like if you just go play it with random people, you're going to get crushed. It's
Oh
kind
yeah.
of a pretty competitive scene. Um, but yeah, it totally is. It feels like a different story every time, a different, way different opportunities. Um, but still the same system, so it's easy to, like, once you get the hang of it, to figure out, "Oh, okay, that's what that card means."
Hmm.
And then really exploring those things is a joy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those games that, like, if you do play it on Board Game Arena, you have to really slow down and see if you can figure out what's actually happening there, because it automates some things to the point where it would be really easy to get lost in it. There's something about Carl Chudyk games where the cards are used in so many different ways, and then the names of the actions and abilities are so abstracted by these ideas he has. It's just so different. I don't know. No one does it like him. So, my second pick, Innovation in 2010 from Asmati Games.
All right. So, my third and final game is called Seas of Strife. Now, I played the version published in 2023 from Rio Grande Games, but it looks like this game I just learned, a little bit more of a history. This is a trick taking game originally published as Strife in 2015 without the nautical theme. And it looks like it is inspired by or based on Texas Showdown, a game called Texas Showdown.
Mm,
So this is a trick taking game where you don't want to win tricks. You lose points for taking tricks. The deck is, I think it's like 70 or 80 cards, and it is divided into 8 or 9 suits, with each card having a unique number on it. So like the first suit is 1 through 5, then 6 through 11, then 12 through 18 or something like that. And different suits have certain or different numbers in them. Um, and when you lead, you can play any suit you want, and then you must follow suit if you can. But because there's such a spread of suits, you're often going to be short suited, and you can start a new suit. Then other players can follow either of the suits that are out there, or however many there end up being. At the end of it, whichever suit has the most cards in it, the player with the highest number in that suit is the winner of the trick and takes the trick.
mm,
Um, so there's this real interesting dance of you might have a hand with like the 70s and 80s in it, but those suits only have 2 or 3 cards. So if you can happen to squeeze one out there, like when, if you're last play especially, and you can't follow any of the previously played suits, you can just toss the 80 out there and get rid of it. I think that like the high numbers are all like krakens and like these tentacles coming out and crushing the otherwise peaceful ships in the rest of the game.
mm.
Um, Yeah, just like getting rid of those cards feels really clever. Um, the graphic design on it is really excellent. The cards, the different suits are all represented by different icons, and then they have this little uh, sort of like graphic on the side that tells you which card in the suit it is, or if it's the highest card. Like there's four cards in the red suit, and the 72 is the second lowest. So there's a little there's four triangles on the side, but the second to bottom one is highlighted for you, so you know roughly where you are in the scheme of things. Um,
Mm.
I played this just on a whim. I went to Minneapolis a couple months ago, had some time to kill before I could go to the place where I was staying, and I found a local game night and just went to it at a bar where I also bumped into my brother. Did not know he was going to be there. So that was funny. But yeah, I just like walked into this place and they were like, "Hey, we're about to play. You want to join?" And I had a blast. It was a great time.
Nice.
As a benefit, it plays up to 6 players, and I mean, BGG thinks it's best at 5 or 6. So yeah, I would say yeah, more the merrier with this one.
Cool. I there can never be too many trick taking games. I know people say, "Oh, that like the crew did this thing and like everyone tried to follow it," but I haven't really encountered one where it's like, "Ah, I don't need this because the other one's kind of like that." There's a lot of really cool variations and innovations being done on that very basic system, and I'm always impressed when I see a new one.
Yeah, I mean, cards with numbers, man. You got me.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Cards with numbers, cool. Yeah, cool. I'll check this out. I haven't even heard of it before.
Yeah, this is Seas of Strife, and it looks like yeah, the original Texas Showdown was published by Amigo. It looks like, um,
Gotcha.
doing some more clicking around.
Cool.
All right, Seas of Strife, 2023.
Speaking of cards with numbers, Flip Seven's on sale on Amazon right now. It's buy one, get one half off, and it's only like $8 to
Ooh,
begin with. So
it
I think
was
maybe I'll pick up a couple. It's a good gift.
real hard not to put that on my list.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, my third and final pick represents the deck building genre, and there's a lot of deck builders out there that involve boards and pieces and things, but Star Realms is purely cards, and it comes in a little tiny pre-constructed deck box like thing. It's just a cardboard box, but it reminds me of my Magic the Gathering days too. Um, which means it's very transportable. You can stick it in your pocket. You can play a two-player game of it at any point, but I think you can combine 2 boxes and play a 4-player game too, right? Isn't that a rule? Something like that.
That sounds right.
And if you wanted to do so, it's only like what, $10, $15 for the base game of Star Realms. Now, if you get really in depth with this one, there is a gigantic, ginormous $100 legacy box that has all the expansion content you're ever going to need. But the point that I'm trying to make here is the base game is cool, and that's really all you need to start with. So, similar to Arkham Horror, yeah, this is an easy introduction to a very cool deck building system. It is confrontational. You are attacking each other. Um, Whereas in a game like Ascension, or other variations on that, like the DC deck building system, I think as well, there's a card row that can be randomly seeded with cards that you can either purchase or attack in those games. And so it's kind of like a luck sort of thing where you draw a hand where it's a bunch of attack power, but there's nothing to attack on the table. Or you draw a hand with all your buying power, and then everything on the table is stuff to attack, right?
Mhm.
This game solves that by just going directly after your opponent's life. So they have cards that represent their life totals. They will defend their life totals by placing ships out in front of them that have defense values. Some of those ships block, some of them don't, but you have to decide, okay, do I attack the opponent or do I attack their infrastructure? And overall, the system's pretty simple. You know, you play a card and usually it gives you buying power, or draws you a card, or gives you attack power. But the cool part about it is there's synergies with other cards in the same suit that come from the same fleet. And so, like, the yellow cards may be all about attacking or trashing cards from your hand. I can't remember which it is. The green cards do a certain thing. The blue cards are really good at gaining health back and stuff like that.
Yeah,
By the end of
I thought it was red was the one that lets you shed.
Yes, that's right, yes. Red
Yeah.
crashes, yellow what does yellow do? They're kinda like discard draw or something like that?
Yeah, I thought blue was draw, one of them's healing or recovery. Yeah, it's some or there's like ships, like more static things, right? One of them is better at that too.
Yeah.
It's been such a long time. I don't know why I'm trying to pretend I know what's going on.
Well, the point is it's a great game and, a lot of fun because by the time you get to the end of a game, you feel so powerful. I mean, it's just this big, crescendo and you're buying these, like, 8 and 9 cost bases that stick around and always trigger those synergies, and they're really hard to
Mhm.
defend or really hard to destroy, I should say, and so you're just, like, going off. You usually win in a landslide in this game, it's never very close, but it's short and it's fun and it's light, and it's just, like, it does what it needs to do, like, really well.
Yeah, I need to go back and play this one again. Like I really liked Hero Realms
Oh,
from the
yeah.
same people from Wise Wizard Games. And it does a lot of the same things, but it doesn't have that like base capture thing that Star Realms does, and it just ended up not having as much support. Like they took it more of like in a cooperative campaign direction. There was like a Hero Realms
Mm,
campaign box that you could get, and I tried doing that at some point. It was just like it didn't feel quite the same.
it was
Um
terrible. It was god awful.
I don't have it anymore, so there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I need to try this one again because I kind of just like was I felt I didn't like any of it after that, and
Hmm.
I think you raised some good points about Star Realms that like that just keeps it clean. That gets right to the good stuff.
Mhm.
There is a good app for it. I know that.
Yeah, there is. You have to pretty much buy all of the individual expansions. It can get really expensive, but it's out there. Yeah, I forgot about Hero Realms. Hero Realms, as far as I remember, is it's just a reskin of Star Realms. They maybe like changed the functions of a lot of the cards, but the system is almost identical. So it's just kind of like the medieval fantasy kind of version of it. And I think I want to say there were some kind of defensive characters that would stay out on the board too, and as opposed to the outposts, I think they were like characters, like you either play spells or you played people. But
Yeah, I don't remember.
in any case, the art I thought was really cool for that one. Some of the rubies reminded me of like the Moxen from Magic and stuff, but the support for Star Realms is significantly better. There's a ton of stuff for it. Cool. So either one of those is my pick. I don't care which one. Star Realms, Hero Realms, whatever. Wise
Sounds like
Wizard
Star
games.
Realms. Based on what you said when I said Hero Realms, it's Star Realms.
Yeah, Hero Realms is great. I just don't like the campaign.
Okay. All right. Well, that wraps up our list. Corey, that's a good one. You want to run it back for us?
Yeah, Harrison picked Magi Nation Duel, Riftbound, and Seas of Strife, and I picked Arkham Horror the card game, Innovation, and Star Realms.
That is a lot of gameplay right there.
Mm,
We could make a whole list of games to play free or right there.
yeah, lots of cards.
All right, Corey. Well, that brings us to the end of yet another episode. What you been doing besides playing board games? Because
Oh,
you told me you haven't been playing any board games.
yeah, I have been. Well, I've been watching the Brewers. I hope that by the time this podcast comes out, they're not eliminated from the playoffs. They're in the NLCS right now. And then I've been painting my basement. So I've been
Oh,
doing been doing responsible things lately. So unfortunately, that means there's not been a lot of time for games. This weekend, Nikki asked me, "Do you want to do something social today?" I said, "We really probably should just crack down and get some of this crap done." But not this weekend. I'm put the basement on pause. We got stuff to do. We got
yeah,
board games to
basement.
play.
You can wait.
Yeah. How about you?
So a friend of mine at playtesting asked if I had heard of a game that he's been playing a while recently. I had not, and then I downloaded it, and I've been playing a lot of it, and that is called Megabonk. Have you heard of this one?
Nope,
One
but
word,
I'm not
Megabonk.
surprised to hear that from you. That sounds like a Harrison game.
Well, that's why he told me about it. He's like, this feels like a Harrison game. I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, too many people know me now. Uh, So it is a survivor like, kind of like Vampire Survivors, where it's
Mhm, mhm,
you have a character you move around, they attack automatically, and you're swarmed by baddies. You level up, you get to pick one of three things when you level up to make your character better, weapons or passive effects.
mhm,
Um, it is 3D though. You're controlling a character in a 3D randomly generated world, uh, and it's very simple. The graphics are kind of reminiscent of like a low poly PlayStation 2 era. Uh, and it's super juicy. It's got like very good feedback. Everything you do just feels good. Like it's a very simple game and it feels good to play. Um, and then it's all about just doing these like short little 10-15 minute runs where you try to get further and kill the bosses if you can. I'm very bad at it, but it's been a lot of fun. And I've got about half the characters unlocked. There's so many different characters with crazy abilities. So worth checking out if you want a dumb fun thing to sink some time into.
Okay, now that you say that, I think I have heard of this. This looks insane.
It's
Um,
very new. Yeah.
yeah. It looks like really retro, right? Am I looking at the right
Yeah.
thing?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it came out a month or two ago, but it's really taken off now.
Okay. All right, I may have to check that out.
It's a fun time. I hope you'll enjoy it.
Okay. All right,
All right.
cool.
Well, thanks everyone for listening. I hope you had fun learning about more card games and you go play some card games yourself. And join us next week for not more card games. I didn't write down what we're doing next week. What did we decide next week is?
Oh, let me pull
Quick.
it up. Sorry. I
No, I
think it's
didn't do it
called
either. I
it
googled the
is
word
Spooky
drive instead of going.
Games 2, Back with a Vengeance.
Oh yeah, next week join us for Spooky Games 2 Back with a Vengeance. So we'll talk about more Halloween games cuz that's right around the corner.
Yeah, oh man, I just used Arkham Horror today.
Uh-oh.
Shoot.
That was a mistake.
Yeah.
Should have stuck
Alright.
with Citizens.
Yeah.
Bye everyone. Thanks for
Bye.
listening.
Adamantly Analog is Corey Murphy and Harrison Dunn. Original themes and bumper music by Corey Murphy. Reach us at adamantlyanalog@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.